Hello, Malty Madrigal Mornings. And thank you to Christian Atala for that malt mention. I'm Ralphie in the bothy, and the X means extras. Ralphie Review 891 extras. So, I hope you've got your dram ready with a wee drop of water in it, not too much. You've settled down in your little malt cave, wherever you are, for your malt moment, because I'm going to provide you with an extras on the subject of Scotch single malt distillery names. Once you get over the barrier of how to pronounce them, and don't worry about it if you mispronounce them, it really doesn't matter. The whisky industry doesn't care so long as you're still buying the products. What you will find though is when you're in Whisky Company, someone will challenge you. You know, it's not Glenmorangie, it's Glenmorangie. Or no, it's not Glenmorangie, it's Glenmorangie. It's Bunnahabhain, not Bunnahabhain. And you get this all the time. My advice is shrug your shoulders, give the perpetrator of this, of their opinion, a smile, and just carry on doing what suits you. So I mentioned in my previous Ralphie Review 891 that before you inherit too much of the prejudices from well-intentioned people in the whisky scene, I would kind of give you my own particular prejudices first to get you started. So here goes. It really bugs me, wherever it started, and I'm not saying it was Knockando or Knockdo, it really bugs me that distilleries feel that their customers are so simple-minded and thick that they're going to get confused. Oh, we get so confused, don't we, malt mates? We just get terribly confused between Knockando and Knockdo. I'm going to ask you a question here. When was the last time you got confused, horribly, terribly confused, between Ardbeg and Ardmore? Never? Me neither. How about, wait for it, Benromach, Benriach, Benrinnes, Bennevis. Have you ever got confused between these four distilleries with all that benning going on? I mean, Benromach, Benriach. Ooh, maybe, possibly. If you've got a lot of earwax in your ear and you've drunk far too much, yeah, you might get confused, but generally speaking, whisky drinkers are actually pretty smart, sensible, practical people, in my experience. I mean, there are exceptions, but that's always the case of it. We don't get confused. We don't get confused between Ardnamurchan and Auchentoshan. We don't. What we do get confused about is when Scotch whisky goes into Japanese whisky and then the Japanese producers call it Japanese whisky and never mention the Scotch. That's confusing. It's also confusing when you get batch variations in particular brands. And I know I'm pointing at Knockando. I think they're less guilty of it than some other distilleries, where you buy a bottle of whisky, you really enjoy it, and you come back a year later and it's just not as good. That's confusing. That's legitimately confusing, because that is a fundamental lapse of quality control by the distillery, which they expect to be tolerated by the customers. There are a few brands that are particularly guilty of it. I'll maybe do a wee vlog on that at some point. But no, we don't get confused. But the whisky industry likes to bundle all its customers into that cover-all phrase, consumers. Particularly the big corporate multinationals, because this is a a prejudice, a labelling which is very convenient for marketing departments who think generally they are superior beings to the rest of us. You will find when you visit a distillery and you're talking to the practical people, the people who actually do a real hands-on job, like operating stills, supervising mash tuns, rolling barrels, providing tours, mopping the floors, these sort of people. The sort of people that every distillery really, really needs. You'll find they will connect with you and treat you as an intelligent human being. But honestly, I've witnessed from a distance, sometimes not so far from a distance, some press releases in the old days when I could even be bothered paying attention to them. They were so simplistic and condescending, it would make your toes curl. This is one reason why I keep a certain distance from the industry. Because you get involved with the very best of intentions and you quickly take a reality check about it all. Because it is an absolute melting point of the human condition, particularly a British cultural human condition. And if you're in Europe, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You really will. Whew. But they go ahead with these decisions. Someone somewhere decided, oh no, there's going to be brand confusion. We're going to change the name of the brand, but independent bottlers can still use the old name of the brand. And by the way, we hold our brand name very precious, so we don't want any independent bottlers to be using our brand name on their product, despite the fact that it is often, not always, often the case that they're presenting superior versions of our product. Hello, Highland Park. This, I think when the younger generation come through, who are basically more in touch with the contemporary world and not living so much in the past, that things will change. And the whole communication of whisky to the world will be done more intelligently. Now, I know I sound like a cantankerous old snob when I'm saying this, but I'm just sharing my experience with you so that you're forewarned and forearmed. Should you be in any point approached visiting a distillery perhaps, or in a specialist retailer, and they're presenting you this brand new, unique, bespoke, wonderful product, which is just as wonderful, maybe a bit more so, a bit less so than every other bottle on the shelf. Just don't buy it. At the end of the day, what keeps us empowered in these situations when all this petty theatre's going on around us is that we focus on the three primary principles of our purpose in relation to whisky as customers. 1, the smell. 2, the taste. And 3, the price they want us to pay for it. That's all that matters. The 3 basic principles. The smell, the quality of that. The taste, the quality of that. And 3, what's the price? That's really all that matters. What's interesting with whisky at the moment, but I think this will change, so I'm forewarning you, I'm letting you know beforehand, is that you can still go out there and find diamonds in the rough. You can find relatively cheap bottles of bourbon in the US, brands you don't necessarily recognise, and they're just fantastic quality. Look for bottled and bond stuff. Higher strength, single batch, none of this camouflage net stuff that goes on with so many bourbons. that you never know where it was made, and you never really know what it was made from. Apart from corn and 51% corn and some other stuff. Maybe it's wheat, barley, rye. Different proportions. Where was it sourced? Did it have much flavour to begin with? You never really get to hear about that. And don't presume that small craft distilleries are going to be ahead of the game compared to some of the big producers. Some are that know what they're doing, but there's also some small producers who don't know what they're doing. They're still learning from experience, if learning at all. There's going to be an economic crunch before too long, and it's going to wipe out quite a few of the small distilleries globally. I think that will be an engine for change. That's the point in which we'll move into a new generation of very clearly defined spirits for the mass consumer, bar spirits, on-trade spirits, supermarket spirits, like supermarket flowers. You know, they serve a basic function and they're at a standard price and they're very accessible. And that's great because they're the gateway, they're the opening, they're the avenue of access into where you and I are at, which is the better quality of stuff, where we understand the three basic principles of success for us as customers. Quality of smell, quality of taste, and the price we're paying. Will we pay it or will we not pay it? Choice is entirely down to us. I'm Ralphie. Hope you've enjoyed this. It's a little extras. Quite enjoyed doing the extras, and you seem to be enjoying hearing them. I must do a better job, actually, of my thumbnails. My brother, BigClive.com, is saying, Ralphie, your thumbnails are crap. Crap. Pure crap. So you need to improve them. So I'm going to improve my thumbnails a little bit, so tell me what you think of them. I'm going to try and jazz them up. I won't be doing any soy face stuff, but I'll be doing a few grimaces and, expressions designed to be entertaining, and see how it does. Fingers crossed. This is a whole new frontier for me. I'm Ralphie, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Click subscribe, likey, bang bell, whatever's, and all the rest of it stuffies, and you have a good day.